All right, 49ers update. I just came off the practice field where Brock Purdy is participating but not throwing, just like last Wednesday. Remember, that was the plan leading up to the game against Green Bay. And on Thursday, Purdy started lightly throwing during warmups, but then he exited practice after that second period. So we will see how this continues to ramp up for the 49ers over the course of this week. There is no media availability tomorrow since it's Thanksgiving, but the 49ers will practice. We will find out on Friday how everything went for Brock Purdy. He did throw on Monday. Kyle Shanahan said that it was without issue. Also remember that it's going to be snowing. It's going to be cold in Buffalo this week. The 49ers have not given any indication as to whether or not that will affect their Purdy calculus, but common sense tells me that it might be at least a factor. 49ers will then return home, presumably in better weather, against the Chicago Bears the week following this game against the Bills. So if they want to play this safe with Brock Purdy, as typically teams try to do with a franchise quarterback, maybe he doesn't play this week. But again, we have to see. All I know is that he was not throwing at practice today. Return for Dre Greenlaw. He is still on PUP, but the 3-week practice window has opened for Dre Greenlaw. It hadn't been all that long since he tore his Achilles. That was in February in the Super Bowl. Now we're sitting here late November, day before Thanksgiving. I talked to Dre really briefly in the locker room. He said he was very excited to get back out there, and he was right next to Fred Warner, going through some of those warm-ups, teammates giving Dre Greenlaw a few handshakes, happy that he's back. In the other video, make sure you check it out. I posted an update a little bit ago. I mentioned that Fred Warner revealed that he's been playing with a fractured ankle for 9 straight games now, which is really a display of toughness from Fred Warner. He's been getting shot up before these games with painkillers so that he can go out there and perform. Obviously, hasn't been as good as he was over the first 4 weeks before that happened against the New England Patriots, but he's still been delivering for this team. And maybe at some point soon, he'll have his sidekick, Dre Greenlaw, back. Speaking of that final game on artificial turf of the regular season in Buffalo, I think that things line up for the 49ers to get Greenlaw back in one of the 2 games after that, either against the Chicago Bears at Levi's or the following Thursday against the Los Angeles Rams at Levi's. You want to get him back on natural grass. Highly, highly doubt that Dre Greenlaw will be in uniform this Sunday, but maybe at some point soon he could help alleviate some of this pressure from Fred Warner. Also returning to practice, Kevin Givens has been out for a few weeks now with that groin injury, a little bit longer than anybody expected. But Givens broke down one of the 49ers D-line huddles today, and it was good to see him back in uniform. 49ers obviously need as much defensive line depth as they can get. Anyway, that's the update on Purdy and company. Some video footage here for you as well. We will talk to you all very soon. Wild update from the 49ers facility. Fred Warner just revealed that he's been playing on a fractured ankle since week 4. We knew that it was at least an ankle sprain against the New England Patriots. That was the game where he had the pick 6 and dove toward the pylon. But no, the ankle has actually been fractured, and Fred Warner said that he's been undergoing painkiller injections just to play every single week. So a remarkable display of toughness from Fred Warner, but his play has indeed declined since that game against New England. First 4 weeks, he had 3 games with a PFF grade of over 90. Fred Warner was on track to be the defensive player of the year. Remember how good he was in Minnesota in week 2? Almost single-handedly kept that game close for the 49ers. The grades have been nowhere near the same for Fred Warner ever since then. The worst one of the season came against Green Bay on Sunday. He missed 4 tackles. And I pointed out, it's obvious that Fred Warner still isn't playing on an ankle that's 100%. And today he revealed that it is indeed a fracture. He said, "It's something I deal with before every game. I get on that table before every game and get shot up every single game just to be able to roll. It's not an excuse. That's the NFL. You're not going to be healthy. It was a fracture when I sprained it. Anytime you fracture a bone, if you continue to play on it, the bone's not going to be able to heal itself. So you've just got to be able to fight through." A lot of fans at home wondering, well, yeah, if it's fractured, why is he playing? Got to tough stuff out in the NFL. And Fred Warner is a leader of this 49ers team. Another leader is Dre Greenlaw, who's going to be back out on the practice field. Told me he's super excited to get back out there in about 20 minutes. That's what my next report's going to be on. But Dre Greenlaw has not been available because he's been dealing with the Achilles tear rehab. So if Warner had not been out there for the past few weeks, then the 49ers would have nobody of any kind of experience at that linebacker position in this system for this team. Devondre Campbell is a fill-in player for Dre Greenlaw next to Fred Warner. But as we have seen over the course of this year, especially over the course of those first 4 weeks, Warner is leading the charge of this defense. And this football is a tough sport. You don't just mail it in when you hit some adversity, when things get difficult. That's why the 49ers can't mail it in at 5-6. They're still very much in this race. And that's why Fred Warner has decided to tough it out through this fractured ankle. He said it's probably not going to get better until he can rest it. That's something for the offseason, though. Right now, Fred Warner is focused on doing the best he can. He's getting shot up with the painkillers every week and heading out to battle for the 49ers, and I do feel he needs to be commended for that. Brock Purdy is going to be back at practice in a limited fashion in about 20 minutes, so I will report on that. You can tune back in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button before this video is finished, or at least right after it's finished, so that way you know when that next video update is coming. Kyle Shanahan said that the 49ers discussed pursuing Daniel Jones, but, quote, that's about it. So it always made more sense for Daniel Jones to potentially be in a 49ers uniform next year. He signed with the Vikings for, $375,000 to finish this season. He's going to begin on the practice squad. There's going to be flexibility for him to sign elsewhere if there are quarterback injuries elsewhere. Another team can poach him off that practice squad. And it's a good spot for Daniel Jones to finish out this season. Stay warm, learn from a good coaching staff. Kevin O'Connell's done a great job there. He's going to be one of the backups to Sam Darnold. He's going to start on the practice squad, so he'll probably be behind Nick Mullins too. So it's a couple of former 49ers quarterbacks in Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins, and then Daniel Jones with Minnesota. And if there is a QB rehab project just like Sam Darnold's that's going to happen again with the 49ers, maybe it happens next year for Daniel Jones. We can take a look at the rest of the 49ers pre-practice injury report today, because on Wednesdays, Kyle Shanahan delivers it before the 49ers take the field. Bosa's not going to be out there. Bosa probably won't practice this week, he said in the locker room, but he said that he has made progress and there is a chance that he suits up against the Buffalo Bills. No Trent Williams. Saw Trent in practice. He's taken all weight off of that left ankle. He's on a little scooter. Last week, I think I spotted him with a boot. He's obviously trying to get healthy as quickly as possible so he can potentially rejoin the 49ers in Buffalo, or if not, then on natural grass. This is the final artificial turf game of the regular season for the 49ers, so maybe he can rejoin them on natural grass against the Chicago Bears here at Levi Stadium the week after that. Jalen Moore started in Trent Williams' place this past week, and Jalen Moore was the only 49ers offensive lineman who delivered a good game. So that should make the 49ers breathe a little bit easier. Funny quote on Christian McCaffrey today, who's not practicing, but it's a designated rest day. That's how they've been approaching this. Kyle Shanahan said that Christian McCaffrey, he's a psycho in the best way possible. Christian McCaffrey heard of that quote, and he said, he and my wife probably agree on that. You know, and Kyle talked for a long time today about Christian, saying that he's playing fine. Obviously, he's working his way back into the swing of things, just like any player who missed training camp and then missed half the season. But Kyle Shanahan is very clear to point out that running lanes haven't been there for Christian McCaffrey. He said that in the first game against Tampa Bay, there might have been 2 that Christian was a half step slow on, just in recognizing with his eyes, and that the stats would have been wholly different. But obviously that didn't cost the 49ers the game. They won that game anyway. This most recent game against the Green Bay Packers, there was not running room there for Christian McCaffrey. I don't think there was much running room against the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers do need to run block better. You can go look at the video that I talked about the interior line yesterday. That's the beginning of solving that mystery. So, no, McCaffrey hasn't lost a step. I'd say Deebo Samuel hadn't lost a step. That was shown on the kick return. It got called back. It was a bad call against Eric Saubert. That's life, though. Sometimes that happens, and 49ers have to bounce back from it. That's been the messaging in the locker room to Saubert from the coaching staff. It's like, hey, good technique, but sometimes the call goes against you, and it did against Green Bay. Now, Deebo Samuel needs to catch the football. That's for sure. He talked in the locker room today. And I thought he was very talkative today. He didn't talk after the game against the Packers. The 2 drops were really damaging, but I still think he's got burst. I still think Christian McCaffrey moves fine. 49ers need to play better as a team, and I think that starts with the blocking up front. I think Kyle Shanahan can help matters by increasing the frequency of the short passing game. No practice today for Deommodore Lenoir, dealing with the knee injury that we talked about. Aaron Banks and Jordan Elliott both still going through the concussion protocol, so they won't be out there. And Demetrius Flanagan-Foles also out with a knee injury. Dominic Pooney will be back out of practice, shoulder injury, so that's obviously something that was concerning. He had to undergo the MRI, but he'll be out there in a limited fashion. And Kevin Gibbons will be returning to practice in a limited fashion for the 49ers, finally, from that groin injury. So I'm about to head out there, and I'm going to see, the 49ers debut of Cam Irving, offensive lineman whom they signed to the practice squad. He was actually Alex Mack's successor at center for Cleveland back in 2016, but it wasn't very good snapping shotgun, so he's played mainly tackle since then, although he was on the Houston Texans practice squad playing some guard this year. And so it's a versatile guy. The 49ers have added him to the practice squad. I talked to him. He's a 32-year-old veteran. Said he'd been long wanting to play for Kyle Shanahan in his system. Tyron Smith, the former Cowboys tackle, now the New York Jets offensive tackle, is his brother-in-law. So we're going to get to see Cam Irving out on the practice field. All these offensive line injuries, that should help the 49ers at least in practice. And then, hey, maybe Irving does get a shot at some point this season. But we're going to get to see Dre Greenlaw return to the practice field for the 49ers. And then we also will be keeping a very close eye on Brock Purdy as he tries to throw again. He tried on Monday, and it went well, no pain. So now he's going to be a limited participant in this practice, and I will have the update for you right after this. Everybody take care.